Hey everybody, this is Chris at Reptiles. Welcome back. I figured I'd go outside. It's nice, but nice weather here. We actually had a really mild winter. The weather's been wonderful. Neighbor dog barking. So we've had a light winter. It's been amazing January, amazing February, now amazing March. Hardly any snow this year. So I approve. I don't know what the farmers do, but I really love the warm weather. Today, I'm going to talk to you about ASF rats. Are they worth the hype? Are they worth the trouble? What I mean by trouble is that they're harder to find. They do have some requirements to breed them. They are pickier than your average Norwegian rat. You can say it's pickier. Some of the things I think are better. Like I like the fact that they can be in my ball python room, my reptile room, because it's usually set about 78 degrees. Around there, anywhere from 75 to 70, to 80 degrees on a normal day. But normally it's set about 78 degrees in there, and it works really well because they like that warm temperature. They actually breed better in warm temperature. But they do have some protein requirements that the Norwegian rats don't. The Norwegian rats, I give them either 6F or pig food, which is worked equally, but the same for me. If you look at the nutrition facts, the 6F and the pig food's almost exactly the same. I know a lot of people have done it the same. I even looked at a few websites, even Tallgrass Reptiles. They use pig food for their ASFs and also their Norwegian rats because they found out the same thing as I have, that it's the exact same, and I haven't seen any difference of breeding. I can go show you how well my rats are doing, even my normal rats. Sometimes they're actually having too big of litters. Sometimes I have to call some because they're having such gigantic litters that they can't keep up with it. I haven't noticed any difference between the Missouri and the pig food. That's just what I found out. You might think something different, but to me they both work really well, and my rats look very healthy. The only problem with the pig food is you have to use a different kind of mesh, and so it falls through. Even with the quarter-inch mesh, some of it falls through, but you're paying so much less for it, so it's okay to lose a little bit of it. Because a bag of Missouri here is about $30 with tax, and I still buy Missouri here and there. Where I've been getting it from, don't carry it as much, or some it's always gone. So I've been doing a lot more pig food, and I use a certain kind, and actually I've been having a hard time finding it here in town. It's the pig and sow. It's worked out really good, but it's been hard to find. So I actually been switching to the Tractor Supply Operand. I don't know what it's called. I'll try to find it for you later on. It's worked out really well, and I guess that's what Tallgrass Reptiles, that's what they use too, is that brand, and it's pretty close to the same nutritional. So are they worth the hype? They don't stink. They don't have the 1% of the smell that a Norwegian rat does. That can be actually an issue too, because people don't change their bedding out enough because they don't smell, and I guess that's caused death before with the ASF rats because they didn't change their bedding, and even though it doesn't smell, it's still a lot of, it's really bad for them to breathe in their own urine. That being said, they breed as fast as the Norwegian rats. I have no problem with them breeding. It's the problem is that it takes a lot longer for their babies to be useful for feeding. Ball pythons, what I found out with hatchlings, people say you can feed frozen, thawed. That can work for you, but I found in my experience, I had some guy get mad at me the other day saying that I shouldn't be feeding live, and I should be feeding frozen, thawed. Whatever. The thing is that I found that the more wiggly they move, the better off they'll take it. And that's one thing about the African soft-furs is they wiggle a lot more when they're at that size. The size for the most of the hatchling snakes, the rat pups, the little pinkies don't move that much, so they don't really attract them that much. Where the size of the ASF rats are a lot more, they move a lot more like a mouse does. That's why a lot of people I know use mice for their hatchlings. I know like Chris Hardwick, that's why he grows mice, is just for feeding them to the hatchlings because they like that movement. And I've been using the ASF rats for the same thing. I personally I'm switching over all my collection to ASF rats. I'm going to start feeding all my snakes ASF rats. I've been doing a test with a normal rats and ASF rats with 2 of my snakes. They were almost the same grams when I got them. They're both great eaters, and my one's about 100 grams over the other one, eating the ASF rats. You might say that's not a big deal, but it seems like it to me. I find that they do better, healthier wise, when they grow faster on the African soft furs. Maybe someone else might find a different experience to me, but I did look at an older video by Gavin at Balls to You, and he said he found the same thing, that his snakes do a little better on the African soft furs. What he said, his words were that the African soft furs are steak and the Norwegians are burgers. So in other words, you can live on both, but the steaks are, a better quality of meat. And I have noticed what he did say, though. If you can look at his old video there, look it up. See Balls to You. He has a video. Another thing I noticed is that their poop don't stink as bad with the ASF rats. It does stink worse with the normal rats. Now, normal rats are a lot easier to breed, period. Everybody knows that. You put them in a bin with a male, you'll have tons of babies as long as you have food and water. I hate to say this, but you can pretty much give them Cheerios and they'll breed like crazy. Will they be healthy? No, but they're easy to breed. Any novice can breed fancy rats. That's just a given. Someone, never bred something before, can breed a Norwegian rat. You take a female and male, put them together, and make sure they have food and water, they'll breed. ASF rats are a little more tricky. They have to have higher protein. I've tried different things to give them protein. I've tried black sunflower seeds, that works out pretty good. I've tried mealworms, that works out pretty good. I've tried dog food, high protein dog food, because I give my dog a high expensive brand of dog food. I've thrown some of that in there. That's about 30% protein. I just throw it in, mix it in with the Missouri or the pig food. But I've been giving them Missouri just because they don't eat that much, so it don't really matter to me. They eat way less than the Norwegians, and that's worked out really well for me. But excuse me. But I do throw a little bit dog food or cat food in there. Cat food works too. A high grade cat food. I think the black sunflower seeds work the best. You can get those at Tractor Supply. You can get a bag for like a big old bag, like 50-pound bag for $20. That works really good. I just throw a little bit in there with their food, and it keeps them high protein, and they produce a lot better. I've noticed if you take that protein out, they don't do near as good, period. They don't breed as much. They'll have like 2 or 3 babies. But if you give them that protein, they'll have 10 to 15 babies, just like the Norwegians. And like I said before, though, the problem is, the reason why people don't like the ASFs as much, they're not as convenient, is because a baby Norwegian, I'm gonna switch arms here. A baby Norwegian is almost useful when it comes out because of the size. It's a good size pinky, and you can give it to, say you have a small colubrid, a small king, or a small corn snake. It's a perfect size for them. So they come out useful. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen a baby ASF. They're tiny and they're little fuzzy, ugly little things. They're not cute. They, I guess, baby Norwegians are not cute either. Little pink little things with no fur, but they get cute really fast. The African soft furs take a while before they get cute, I guess. To me, they look more like a hamster. You ever seen dwarf hamsters in the pet shops? That's what they look like to me. But they definitely, I found a big difference that I think my snakes grow faster with the African soft furs. And I've heard rumors, I don't know how true this is, I heard this from Gavin, and he has a lot more experience than me, years of experience than me on breeding ball pythons, and he said that they don't lose color as much when they get older with African soft furs. Don't quote me on that, I just what I heard, and you can go look at his video, and I've heard other people say that too. I don't have any frame of reference on this, so it might be just hearsay, but Gavin's pretty solid what he says. I watch his videos a lot. I've said this before. Gavin and Chris Hardwick, I watch a lot because they give you ideas and things that, you know, I try out. I've tried some of their stuff and either made it work the way I want it to work. You know, I took their ideas and kind of went further with them, or you know, I've learned a lot from them. I've watched people like you know, everybody that watches snake videos watches everybody. I've watched, you know, Always Evolving Pythons. I've watched Brian Barczyk. You know, I've watched Nerds, and I've learned a lot from Nerds too. Don't get me wrong. Kevin is very good, very smart man. I mean, you can tell he knows his stuff. He's been doing it so long. He's very smart. But he doesn't make as many appearances on his videos as on his, you know, the YouTube videos as his employees do. But when he speaks, he has a lot of wisdom behind those and a lot of years. But a lot of the guys just talk about their snakes and stuff, which is cool. That's why I don't always show you my snakes and things like that, because I can go show you to you, but my snakes are not as cool as theirs. But when I was starting out, I wish there was more technical videos, and that's kind of what I was like. I'm gonna start making technical videos, helping people out, the common people, the common breeders out. I wanted to make videos that help people out that are starting out, because when I first started, there wasn't a lot of videos out, and I had to read books and read forums, and it took me a while to figure this all out. And so I like to impart the knowledge that I've learned, you know, in about my 5 years of breeding ball pythons. You know, I've had lots of experience with reptiles, keeping reptiles and breeding them on a small scale. But about 5 years ago, I decided to bring ball pythons into my life and start breeding them. And I started breeding them about 3 years ago, hardcore. You know, trying to do this for a living. Trying to do it by the end of this year. But you know, if I don't, hey, whatever. I mean, my job is not a bad job where I work. It's just that I want to, you know, spend my life doing this, and that's my goal. I mean, everybody should have a goal. I mean, you guys should have a goal. If you guys are breeding ball pythons just like as a hobby, you guys should have a goal of, you know, what you want to do. I always have a goal, write it down, and you know, I like to look at it where if I met my goals or if I came close to meeting my goals. Just like I have a goal of hitting 1,000 subscribers in the next 5 months. I mean, I believe I will, but if I don't, I'm not going to like put my head down in shame. That's just what it is. But anyways, guys, let's go take a look at some of my ASF rats and my other Norwegian rats and compare a little bit. So this right here is my current setup for my rats. I've been putting my African suffers in these bigger tubs. I'm going to change that soon. I just recently ordered one from Freedom Breeder, but it's going to be about 4 weeks before it gets here. Maybe about 3 weeks now. Now, they do very well in big tubs. But see this? This is the key thing. Don't bite me, bud. Is you got to give them a hide. If you look in the hide, there'll be all kinds of babies in here. They like to have hides for their babies, period. They do a lot better. And these are, if you wonder what these are little bird treats. They have mealworms and stuff. I use those just to give them a little snack once in a while. And I also put field grass in here. You can't tell because they eat it all and they move it everywhere. I have them in all these ones. I give them all a little thing here, a little hide. Besides these guys, I just picked these up the other day. Some new ones I just got from a gentleman here in town. He decided to get out of the ASF business, and so I traded him normals for ASFs. Here's some more right here that he gave me. And see, they like to turn these over. If they're not breeding, they won't use them. But when they are breeding, they will use them. And over here, let me see. This is the problem if you have too many babies. See, if you look at some of these babies, they're all over the place. I usually put them aside, but I'm out of like maternity tubs right now. They get kind of small and piddly if they have too many babies at once. And sometimes these mamas have too many babies. I like to bring them over here. I put a couple of mommies in here, usually, and I put them in these little racks over here to take care of their babies. I can put about 2 mommies in there when they have babies. But I'm running out of rack space right now. That'll be changed here when I get my freedom breeder. So I pretty much switched over to pig food for the most part. Haven't noticed any difference. They eat very well. You can hear them all eating right now. I got babies everywhere. You can hear them. I'm running out of room for my babies. I need some more birthing things, but yeah, I have them everywhere. They're popping out everywhere. I got babies galore. This one just had brand new babies. Where they at? Said brand new babies today. They were today. So let's go back to me here. Oh yeah, and my ferrets. They're in my room. There's Dot. Hey Dot. And there's Felix. Felix Faust. Oh, just in case you want to see. It's kind of gross in there because this is their food I make up. I mix up dog food, all kinds of stuff, and it's kind of gross. Eggs, mealworms. It's kind of a mush. I put a little bit of everything in there. But I do have, you guys seen it before. Come on. I do have blue tongue skinks too. Hey buddy. They make great pets. Yeah. Show me that tongue. So anyways, I'm trying to experiment. I'm going to stop breeding a lot of normal rats. I'm going to kind of get out of it, not get out of it, but I'm going to definitely cut it in half and definitely go with the ASFs. See how that works for me. You know, I might change my mind and go back to Norwegians, but I do like the fact that they're really easy to keep. I'm actually going to put the rack right here in this spot right here because I have enough room here for that rack, the ASF rack. I didn't buy the big one. I bought just the one for ASF. It's an ASF rack. I can use it to also help some of my Norwegian females to put in there with their babies. But in that right there, that's my homemade rack. You can watch my other video for my blue tongue skinks. But I'm planning on kind of going away from the Norwegian rats. There's 2 reasons. Is that I like that there's no smell. I do love that. I can actually put them in my reptile room, and I like the fact that they're mainly because they're clean, and I like the fact that my animals. I had 2 stubborn ball pythons that would only eat live mice, and here in town there is a gentleman that breeds them. The guy actually switched the ASF rats. Actually, if you look up my Instagram, I post them on there. He just became the rep for Reptichip. So if you want Reptichip and you live in Washington, he's a rep here. I'm gonna start getting my Reptichip here. He's an amazing guy. I've been kind of dealing with him ever since he started out with a little tiny pet shop. Now he's going to shows. He's getting really big. His name is David. He's a nice guy. So if you're even looking for Reptichip, it's called West Coast Chameleons and Feeders. He's a cool guy, and that's where I've been getting all my mice and rats originally, because I used to always do frozen when I first started out, and I switched to live. The funny thing is that I went to Ellensburg to get my live because I didn't know he had them at the time. There's a place in Ellensburg that sells rats. It's kind of weird because that's the only 2 live places around here that sell live rats. Is there, and that right there, you see that used to be my homemade rack I made for some carpet pythons. Now I use it for a storage bin. But I went and bought it from Ellensburg, not knowing that he was here in town, and that's where I got all my rat collection started, from the Ellensburg. And I do bring new breeders in once in a while just because it's good to get different stock and not breed them over and over again. I don't know if that's true or not, but I've always heard that you should bring some in every so often, some new males or some new females in, and I do that once in a while. But let's get down to the question. Are ASFs worth the hype? I think they are. If you have the time and the patience to deal with them. They are not as easy as the Norwegian rats. They aren't. But they are higher in protein. I've seen a difference in my snakes. Honestly, I'm not just saying this on a bunch of BS, but I've seen the colors even brighten, and they seem like they digest them slower, and it just seems to be a lot better for them. I mean, I might be wrong because, like I said, I'm not a veterinarian. I'm not a nutritionalist, but what I've seen from my own eyes and my own snakes. I'm not going to sit here and tell you this. It's a fact because, again, I'm not those things. I mean, I have lots of experience with reptiles and ball pythons, but what I can say is a lot of other breeders found the same thing with me, is that it really does seem to do that. And like I said, I'm not going to write it on paper, but I know other people agree with me. So I hope that helps out, guys. I know a lot of people are asking about ASFs. Are they worth doing? Are they, I get this question all the time. This is one of the most questions I get, actually, is about my ASF rats. And it's one of the best things I ever did. But I do wish they bred as easily as the Norwegians. Norwegians are, but they have their problems too, because they don't like the heat. And I live in Washington State, and it gets hot in here in the summertime. It gets really hot, and I have to keep the AC going in the room that they're in, because they will they'll die. They don't like that heat at all, and the ASFs love the heat. They like to be in the reptile room. They love the heat. They love the hot. So that's a big plus for me, and I just like the fact that they just seem to be a lot better for my snakes. Anyways, guys, if you wouldn't mind, check out some of these other videos right here. Also, crush that subscribe button. I'd appreciate it. Anyways, guys, I see you next time. Love you. Later. Peace.